Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Crime Prevention Security System Studio. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It's a Wednesday edition.
Friends.
Friends, you like that? Hello, friends. Jim Nance.
Yes.
We got JC kicking off the program today. And in the second half of the show, we're going to have world-class sprinter, All-American, world record holder Grant Holloway talking a little track in the Olympics. In the second portion of the program. First, let's go to the Titan MR hotline. We're joined by JC. Good morning, JC. How are you?
Good morning, man. I tell you, looking at this roster for the Masters, it's just going to be so hard to pick winners here, because if you don't take the favorites, I mean, you could take the favorites, right? You could take Johnson, Rahm, DeChambeau, but there's got to be somebody that just kind of sneaks in there after the second round and jumps in on the weekend as a surprise player, and that's who I'm looking for, and it's just going to be very difficult to do that, QB. But I already know who you're picking, so it's pretty obvious what I got to do. So,
well, I told you
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I'm picking some long shots later. Just some news and notes. Gator
you
baseball.
Like my brown? You like my brown Masters hat here? My tan brown.
It looks gold on TV.
Yeah, it's gold. See, there we go.
Okay, well, it's not brown or tan. It's gold.
Okay, gold.
Baseball beat Stetson last night 7-6.
Mm-hmm.
They play FAMU tonight. Softball has a doubleheader today against the Bulls from South Florida. And so that's some news and notes what's going on.
Big weekend for Florida baseball, my man. Going up
Tennessee.
To playing a surprise team that has come in as the sixth-ranked team in the country out of nowhere, the Tennessee Volunteers. And we have in the top 10, 5 SEC teams, with Vanderbilt 1, Arkansas 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi State 5, Tennessee 6. I thought Florida would be ranked higher than 12th. They should be at least in the top 10 after taking 2 of 3 from Ole Miss. And then you have South Carolina in at 7. But Tennessee is the surprise so far, I think, in the SEC. They've kind of come out of nowhere. But we're going to find out what they're all about this weekend with the Gators, and then next weekend at home against Vanderbilt for Tennessee. So it's going to be 2 big weeks for the Big Orange.
Well, they had a pretty good year last year, if I'm not mistaken, starting the year. Maybe it was the year before. But Vanderbilt's going to be the team that's going to be hard to beat with their pitching. That's ridiculous.
I mean, they are certainly, the two starters they have, Leiter and Rocker, are going to potentially be the 2 top picks in the draft when that happens. They got 10 to 11 Major League Baseball players on that 2021 team right now. They are the 2014-2019 national champions, as we know. They've been to 14 straight NCAA tournaments. They've been to four College World Series. It's amazing, because if you walk on Vanderbilt's campus, and if you had seen the facility they play at or play on or play in, whatever you want to say, right there next to that ridiculous football stadium, if you can call it that, you'd be amazed that they can get those players there.
They're getting ready to spend $300 million.
They are. The whole athletic department is going to get competitive again.
Yeah.
Or not again, but they're going to try to get competitive.
We got a text here on the Titan MR text line, and it says, "Happy Masters Eve, fellas. I hear folks are now banging on Mark Few and saying he can't win the big one because of their schedule and such, but the man has been to 6 straight Sweet 16s and a couple of title games along the way. Championships are hard to win. Just ask Izzo, Boeheim, Bill Self, and Calipari. Those cats have well over 100 years of combined coaching and each have 1 respective title on their resume. Sounds like some idiots that want Mike White fired." Thanks for the text, Ryan. Look, Baylor just kicked their tail the other night. It's that simple. But Mark Few has done a phenomenal job. He's a great basketball coach. I guarantee there ain't nobody that supports Gonzaga saying that.
Well, listen, I mean, you got to remember, too, he's in, Spokane, Washington. He's got a campus of the size of Buchholz High School. He's playing in a league that is somewhat remote, if you will, in terms of what people think about with basketball, and he gets great players to come there. And so he's going to be competitive. They're going to always be in this deal. But Baylor was the better team. And Baylor, in my opinion, would have beaten that team 7 out of 10 times. And I also think Baylor is the kind of team that had they not had a COVID issue this year, had they not played in a much better conference, they could have easily gone undefeated. That was the kind of team that you just don't get to come along once in a, that team comes along once every 3, 4, 5 years at a school like Baylor. But they've been getting progressively better under Scott Drew. He's got his championship now. We'll see. Hubert Davis going to North Carolina will take care of any Scott Drew rumors, obviously, and Baylor's in great shape. But again, that's another very small school in the middle of nowhere that has a basketball powerhouse. So, it could happen here. It could happen anywhere, really. I mean, I know we have blue bloods in college basketball, but we have more parity in college basketball than we do in college football.
You're getting ready to get more parity because of the transfer portal. And, we talked about it the other day. Scott Drew built the entire Baylor basketball program on transfers. That's what he's done for the last 18 years.
They're spectacular. And,
go ahead.
No, I was just saying Baylor's path to winning that championship wasn't easy, though. In that first game, they were tested, but then they really figured it out, found their feet, and just never had an issue.
Well, they made shots. They're a different team if they make shots. Hubert Davis, if you haven't seen it, he's the new head coach at North Carolina, but Roy Williams posted something on Twitter. It's like a 2-minute little blurb that was outstanding that you need to go pull it up and listen to it. I got chills just listening to it. We got some people are talking about spring football because, a lot of people are getting close to their spring games and stuff like that, JC, and we're going to talk Masters here in a minute. But I wanted to read this to you. They were talking about and having the orange and blue game, the A-Day and all that stuff is for actually play a game. So these are proposed opponents for spring games. I want to hear what your thoughts are on this.
Yeah, sure.
Alabama, Georgia Tech, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, Auburn versus Troy, LSU versus Louisiana Lafayette, Mississippi State against Arkansas State, Ole Miss and Memphis, A&M and Houston, Florida, UCF, Georgia, Georgia State, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Missouri, Kansas State, South Carolina, Coastal Carolina, Tennessee, App State, and Vanderbilt against Middle Tennessee State.
I mean, clearly, if you want to bring interest to spring football, that's something you would do, right? I mean, spring football is about as interesting to me as watching some random guy play golf out here on the 10th fairway. But the reality is that if you want to bring some sort of interest or revenue or anything to spring football and make that game somewhat interesting, although not necessarily all that important, but much more interesting and something that you can rally around in this time of off-season preparation for the real season, then sure, I don't have any issue with that. It'd be like kind of what the NFL does when the Saints and the Falcons get together during training camp, or the Cowboys get together with the Rams, or somebody out in California. I think it brings much more interest, and certainly you might get more out of it in terms of spring football than just having some la-la scrimmage that is about as important as mowing the grass. So I think it's a good idea. I like the idea, QB.
Yeah, I mean, if they did it, they need to do it as a controlled scrimmage, like you just mentioned, how the NFL teams practice against one another.
Yeah, they could do that.
You don't even have to tackle in the game, but it would be a lot more exciting for sure. We got a text here on the Titan Mark text line. It comes from Larry. Larry wants to know, you guys are big golfers. If you had your champions dinner, what would it be?
That is awesome.
And I just pulled up what Dustin Johnson, what they served. They had a salad, then they had prime rib, then they had filet mignon, then they had family style mashed potatoes and vegetables, and peach cobbler and apple pie. He had a pretty simple.
I would drown the entire dinner in marinara sauce. Of course, I have found a new marinara sauce called Victoria's, a little less sugar than my all-time favorite ragu, and I would have pasta everywhere. I would have mushrooms. I'd have onions. I'd have ricotta cheese. I would have just an Italian free-for-all while you sit there with your fried chicken and all that unhealthy stuff.
I love first of all, what I eat is way more healthy than what you just mentioned.
What? No. What's wrong with cheese?
Pasta's about one of the worst things you possibly can eat these days.
It really is. It is. A lot of carbs in that.
It's horrible for you.
But marinara sauce, tomatoes, mushrooms, green peppers, onions. Dude, that is what keeps you alive. Okay.
I would go with what Dustin Johnson ordered for sure, but I would change the dessert. I would go with some kind of chocolate cake or chocolate.
Oh, that's good for all that sugar is good for you. Yeah. So, all right. Well, listen, I think it would be exciting. I know exactly what you'd have though. You'd have fried. You'd be fried.
I eat nothing fried, Jason. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Fried chicken. What are you talking about? You're all about fried chicken and Southern and meatloaf and things like that. I mean, Southern cooking. Yeah.
Yes, but I wouldn't have. I eat that maybe
gravy.
I eat that about 3 times a year.
Okay.
We're not going to sit here on this show and talk about who eats healthier. I can promise you that. All we got to do is stand up.
Speaking of that,
all we got to do is stand up.
We are also a foot taller than I am. Somebody is going to be taking this guy to lunch because he came close. He came close in his bet. But and I give you a lot of credit for doing that because
JC,
that's
real
a tough bet to
quick. I'm a foot taller than you.
You are. Well, I mean, almost. Are
you 5'3"?
No, not 5'3".
You're 5'3", 185, and you're trying to tell me how to eat.
Okay. Look, I can't help it that my ancestors came from the southern Mediterranean region of the world, and yours came from some Indian reservation. It's not my fault. I'm 5'9", and you're 6'3", so that would be 6 inches. You're half a foot taller than I am.
Is that right?
How about that?
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, our winner for the Chomp Carter hat this week goes to Joshua Weekly. So, Josh, they'll get in touch with you. I'm waiting for our staff to let me know who won the bracket contest. I think they haven't posted that or told me who won that. But as soon as we find out, we will let you know. Well, so JC, go ahead. Go ahead. What you got?
No. Well, I was just going to say that I haven't had a chance to talk to you about. Okay, we mentioned the ball game, but the the AllStar game for Major League Baseball going to Denver, Colorado.
I got
to tell you what. I know you probably talked about it at length, but my only take would be here, trying to stay as neutral as possible on politics, would be that I think the commissioner did this because players basically threatened to not play that game in Atlanta. I don't know this. I'm just thinking that he was under pressure to do this, or he owes somebody something, because there can't be a reason if you base it on what they think is the real reason.
Well,
and I think that's what we have is something behind the scenes.
I don't follow politics. I don't give a damn about politics.
It's got to be something behind the scenes with players.
Right, but here's I talked to Buddy Martin about this yesterday. We brought it up, and here's what I don't understand, and I probably won't because I'm not going to research it. I don't really care. I just think it's stupid. Okay. Manfred, obviously, whether it was his decision or he was forced to make this decision.
I think he was forced
my point is, how do you cancel an All-Star game, but then you allow the franchise to continue playing games there if you have a problem with it? And not only that, Manfred is a member of Augusta National Golf Club.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's got a problem with the state of Georgia, shouldn't he say, okay, I'm going to drop my membership at
There's a lot of this. So there's a lot of hypocrisy involved here. Absolutely. And as far as the reason they use for doing it makes absolutely zero sense whatsoever, because it's not true. So when you talk about these laws, because you can just write them up and stick them next to each other and make a comparison, and you can see that can't be the reason. So he was pressured from behind the scenes. That's the story I'm sticking with, and I believe it's the players. It's the players. It's the players.
Dan said, I forgot to look at the Facebook Live comments, but he said it sounds like JC would have Pizza Hut's baked ziti catered for the Masters dinner.
No, come on, Dan. Pizza Hut, really, Dan. Pizza Hut. No. I told him. I said the Victoria sauce is the new sauce I found. It's from Brooklyn, New York. Family came over in 1929. It is low sugar. It's much, much better.
Rick says on Facebook Live, don't get paid if you don't play regular season games. No, my point is if they're going to move an All-Star game, wouldn't you move the Atlanta Braves to another state to play their games? I don't understand it. I'm not smart enough to figure it out.
There isn't any consistency with these decisions. These are based on politics. That's as simple as that. You can say all you want. The players, to me, went to him and said, we don't feel like we should play this special event in Atlanta. Ironically, it's hurting the very people that these folks claim to want to have a voice for or have a voice about. And it's amazing to me at the absolute, I think it's just flat out hypocrisy. But, look, am I going to spend a lot of time watching this game on television? Absolutely not. I used to like watching the All-Star Game, but it's kind of a show now that it doesn't seem to be that exciting or competitive to me. And I always root for the American League. So there you have it.
Refresh your vehicle and your brand with a vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. April is your lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap.
Oh, NFL draft QB real quick. It's obvious now what's going to happen in the top 2 picks. I also think potentially in the top 3 picks we'll have quarterbacks go. I was very surprised to see how excited the 49ers were about Mac Jones, but now with Sam Darnold being traded to the Carolina Panthers, the Jets are clearly going to take Zach Wilson. So you're going to have Zach Wilson go to the Jets. You're going to have Lawrence going to Jacksonville and potentially Mac Jones going to the San Francisco 49ers, who traded for that pick from the Miami Dolphins. And then you have the Dolphins at 6, who are very, very likely, in my mind, to pick Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be a Miami Dolphin. I really do.
Yeah, we'll see. Since you brought up the draft, Todd McShay has released his latest overall prospect rankings, and I just have the Gator ones here. He's got Pitts at 4. He's got Kadarius Toney as the 21st best player, and Marco Wilson, the 77th best player, and Kyle Trask at 106.
Well, if Pitts is 4, then he won't be going to the Miami Dolphins. But who's picking 4? Do you know?
No, he didn't say that's where they're going to be picked. Oh. He's talking about that's where his player rankings are on the board. Okay.
Yeah,
they're going to be picked.
I think Pitts fits Miami instead of the 2 prior teams, the 2 teams picking before Miami better. So Lawrence, Wilson, potentially Jones, 2 other guys. Kyle Pitts as number 6 to the Dolphins.
Yeah, Josh, the hat that you want is signed, and they will be shipping that to you. Okay, JC, let's get to our This Day in Sports, brought to you by Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. From now until May 31st, get our preventative maintenance plan for $169 and save almost 40% off the normal cost. Also, any maintenance schedule between now and May 31st will be entered into win a Nest thermostat with installation. So, This Day in Sports, in 1963 at the Masters, you know what happened there, JC?
Oh, 63. Let me see. Was that the year Roberto Di Vincenzo signed a wrong score?
No. Okay. In 1963, some guy, the Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus, at 23 years old, wins his first of a record. He won 6 green jackets. So that was his first with a 3-foot par putt on the final hole to finish 1 stroke ahead of Tony Lima.
Mm-hmm. And 22 years later, he would win his last Masters at 45. Yep. So that would be in 86, if I'm not mistaken. So, 6 majors, 6 jackets. He's the best of all time.
Joe says on Facebook Live here, going to miss the par 3 contest at the Masters for the 2nd straight year. Yeah, I don't know why they're not having it this year. Makes no sense.
Ripped out my earphones. No, I don't either. Doesn't make much. Maybe it's about crowds. I don't know. I don't know. But I think we'll all be tuning in this weekend. This is the first major, obviously. Then the U.S. Open, then the British Open, then or is it the PGA before the British? I don't know. They've kind of tinkered with the rotation a little bit here, but this is the start of the major season, and even though we had the TPC already, and I'm ready to go ahead with these picks if you want to do that.
All right, let's do it. This would be the Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. And it's time for the JC and the QB golf picks.
All right. So you won last week, or you had the higher finishing golfer. So I assume that.
Okay, before we get to that, I got a text message here on the Titan MR text line.
The text line.
From our tremendous staff. And whoever Swamp 1997 won the basketball challenge. They need to contact our folks via Facebook or on the website to get their prize. Whoever Swamp 1997 is, contact the producer. And by the way, I just got another text that our wonderful producer came in dead last.
Well, God bless him. He's giving effort. He's trying hard. And
we're going to do our Masters picks, and then we're going to be joined by track star Grant Holloway in just a second. All right, JC, I get to go first, huh?
You do. Yes, you do.
All my guys, I know you're going to pick chalk, but all my guys, according to Vegas, are 20 to 1 or higher. I'm going to pick Xander Schauffele.
Oh, I mean, you never pick that guy. What brought you to that name?
Well, I just think he puts well, and it's time for him to play well.
It is time. I'm going to go with a name that might surprise some folks, but this guy's been playing really good golf here in the last month or so, and he's a European, and I always seem to think a European somehow finds his way on Sunday near the top, and I'm taking Paul Casey.
Paul Casey, that's a good pick. What are his odds?
Casey. I haven't checked that board yet, but they're probably up there where your guys are around 20.
All right, my second pick, I'm going with another young gun. Mm-hmm. I'm going Colin Morikawa.
Yeah, you've picked him once already this year. Great putter. Really good putter. I will take a guy I can't really trust him, but he does play this course very well. He's come very close, but his health sometimes, I just can't trust him, but I think this might be his turn, and that's Jason Day. Even though I don't know how, he's got the vertigo thing. I don't know, but we'll see.
Real quick, Dan says on Facebook Live, he says the guy that won the bracket challenge, Swamp, whatever's 1997, filled out 3 to 4 brackets, so he cheated.
Well, controversy.
He filled out 2 brackets, they say. So anyway, all right. So who did you just take? Paul Casey and
I did, and I took Jason Day, another
Jason
foreigner.
Day. Okay, I'm going to take. I'm taking Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah, I was looking at him. That's a really good pick. That's a really good pick. He hits it well. I'm going to go with. I'm going to take a favorite here. I mean, I love the way Spieth is playing right now. I do, and I think I'm surprised you're not taking Koepka, even though his knee. He's coming back from that. I didn't even think he was playing this week. He said he wouldn't have entered if he didn't think he could win, which tells me that his knee is feeling good enough to compete for 4 days going up and down these hills at Augusta. He just got engaged. Things are good for Brooks Koepka. And but it was a question about his knee, right? His knee injuries. So we'll see how he does. If he's on, he is very likely to win this because his game is really suited well for this course. But I'm going to take my TPC winner because I just got a feeling I'm going to take Justin Thomas. I love his game. I love that guy's game.
Number 2 in the world.
Listen, he didn't have a very good start to the year, and then he turned it on the weekend of the TPC, and I just have a feeling he's primed to challenge for this major. I think Dustin Johnson certainly is, but Brooks Koepka, listen, if his knee doesn't bother him, he's got the goods, and he could definitely win this. But you're only letting me pick 3 of them, so we're going to do that.
I got some sleepers here that they're like I think Webb Simpson, Tommy Fleetwood, and Billy Horschel are some sleepers. Yeah, there's 2 Gators playing, Billy Horschel and Brian Gay. Yep. There's like 8 Georgia Bulldogs in this tournament.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know about Bubba Watson. He's a Georgia Bulldog. He's won it twice, I think. But, man, something's happened to his game, his confidence or whatever it is. And I'm not sure why he's really fallen so hard. But I would almost think with the way he's been playing the last 2 or 3 years, he would be a sleeper, even though he's won it twice, because he just hasn't played very well. Another guy who could be dangerous in this field is a guy that you and I have watched over the years. Hideki Matsuyama plays this course well. He's very long and he can putt. So, that's what you need. You need distance and you need a great putter, don't you? So, John Rahm just had a baby, so he's feeling it right now. Patrick Reed has played well this season. Daniel Berger has a win. All these good golfers. It's the thing we love watching is to hopefully have a real challenge on the back nine on Sunday.
Well, they said reports coming out of there with no rain and everything, it's firm and fast.
It's going to be fantastic. Yeah.
Because when the greens are soft, they can fire right at the sticks, and that's what makes this golf course are the slopes and undulations in the greens. So hopefully it does not rain at all. Wind kicks up a little bit, and we have a tremendous. What do you think the final score is going to be?
I'm going to say I always go with with the conditions, I'm going to say somewhere around 11 under, something like that. 11 or 12. Yeah, 11 or 12 under, because it should play harder than it has in the past when the scores got really, really low. But I've also seen the winners in single digits as well. So
Dustin shot 20 under. A couple months ago.
Yeah, and Tiger Woods did it in the 90s. He blew up the place. So they did some things, tinkered with the course a little bit, tried to Tiger-proof it, so to speak. And I don't know. I just think that with the hard conditions, hopefully we're going to see some lower or some, not so ridiculous scores. And I think 11 under, 10 under, 12, something like that.
Well, let's hope so. It should be a good one. JC?
The only thing is, if they wanted to make this really tough, just grow the rough a little bit.
Yeah.
Give me some rough on the side of the fairways, because literally the second cut from the fairway is another fairway almost. It feels.
Yeah, I wish they would do some U.S. Open rough.
Just make it higher.
If you added rough with the way these greens are, it would be fun. But these guys are bitch and complain, and they don't want them to. They want them to make a bunch of birdies, which I like birdies too, but I like to see them struggle.
Well, I like to see them challenged, man. I don't want this to turn into the Texas Valero Open. I just don't. I want to see.
DJ did that last year to this golf course.
Yeah, and that's just not the Masters.
But it was soft and it rained.
Yeah, that helps.
As long as it stays fast and firm, I think they'll struggle. All right, JC. Hopefully, you don't struggle today. Hopefully, it's not too fast. Hopefully, it's not a whole lot of undulation on those greens that you play.
And Hawkstone, baby. Hawkstone is live.
They're flat as this desk right here, baby.
It's in great shape, man. Fairways, tee boxes, greens are all coming around. We got a member guest at the end of this month. I'll be favored to win that, of course. So I can't wait.
Right.
I can't wait. You watch it happen, Captain.
I guarantee ain't nobody picking you in the Calcutta. All right, JC.
Okay.
Have a good day, my man.
All right.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. We're going to take our first time out of the program. When we come back, we're going to talk a little track. We're going to talk with maybe one of the greatest track athletes at the University of Florida, Grant Holloway, will join us here on the program.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. G-Tech Sport, keep your athletes in the game with G-Tech Sport. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Chomp Harder Apparel, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Points, where the Gators go to celebrate. with premium brands like Regal Cinemas, Dave & Buster's, Le Macaron, Sushi Hana, Bass Pro Shop, and coming June of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Visor's Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. We're now going to go to the Titan MR hotline, and we're going to be joined by a dude that has celebrated a ton in his young career, and that's the track star, Grant Holloway. Good morning, Grant. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, Mr. Shane. How are you doing, man? I appreciate you having me on the show.
Absolutely. When I bring the athletes on my show, I like to start back when you were a youngster. You grew up in Virginia. You probably played everything as a youngster, but when you got to high school, you played football, and I think you were a stud wide receiver from what I've been told, but obviously you were great at track. When you were growing up, did you play everything, or, you were blessed obviously to be able to run real fast. So did you enjoy playing high school football?
Yeah, I think about it all the time. I think it's one of the things where if the opportunity was still there, I think I would go back to it, just with everything going on. When I was in high school, I was able to have a chance to meet Mark Richt, be committed to Georgia for a short period of time before all the scandals and everything happened with Georgia. Mark Richt gets fired and all that good stuff. But I was blessed with the opportunity to be able to run here at the University of Florida. And the biggest thing was I took it and ran with it literally. And I think committing to Florida has done and changed my life so much. And I'm kind of glad this was the end result.
So when you go back to your recruiting process, obviously, as I said, you were a star coming out of high school, and I'm pretty sure probably every university wanted Grant Holloway to come run track for them. What other schools did you look at, and then what made you decide to go run track for Mouse Holloway?
Yeah. So like you said, I was able to really, if I really wanted to go to Hawaii, I could go to Hawaii. If I really wanted to go to North Dakota, I could go there. But the main thing was it came down to Florida and Georgia, really. I have Virginia Tech in there just because it was so close to home, and one of my great friends is there at the school now. But it really came down to Florida and Georgia, and it came down to a point where I saw myself in about 20 years. I think the biggest thing was I wanted to be an Olympian. So I chose a school that not just puts out Olympians on the track, but you think you got swimming, you do any other major sport or any other Olympic sport, you'll see Gators surrounding. So that's why I chose Florida. Coach Holloway also told me, like, I'm not just gonna make you one of the best hurdlers in the world. I'm gonna make you a better man, and I think that's what really resonated with me. And till this day, I'm still growing. I think I'm way more mature than I was yesterday. I think I'm way more mature than I was 4 or 5 years ago when I walked on campus. So it all works out.
So I'm trying to imagine you at a track meet in high school. Did you run like every damn event there was back?
So I did in high school at my state championship. I won the long jump, I won the high jump, I won the 110 hurdles, and I won the 300 hurdles. So that was the most events won ever at a state meet. Yeah,
that's what I probably figured. So, you come to the University of Florida, and, I had Coach Holloway on a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about you. He said, if you watch the tape of you playing high school football, you were an unbelievable wide receiver. And you mentioned that you had thought about playing college football. Was there ever did you ever think about playing here as a Gator, or did the coaches ever talk to you? What made you decide not to play?
Yeah, I talked about it. I think it was one of the really things, like, even when I committed, it was like Grant Holloway to go to University of Florida to play 2 sports. And as we get closer and closer, Jim McElwain and his staff were just being, a little wishy-washy, going back on some words. And long story short, I come on campus, and they were like, "Oh, we want you to walk on, and then we can use the track scholarship." They're just trying to save a little bit of money on the football standpoint. When track and field only has, I think the rule is like 12 and a half or 12, and the football gets, I think, 56 or 30, something crazy amount of number. So he was just trying to, save money, and I just thought he was going about it the wrong way. So I told Coach Holloway what the situation was. He said, "Look, I'm 100% in. If they're not, then I don't think you should do it. You're coming here, for a reason. You're coming here to start a life. You're coming here to do certain things." And really, I kind of told him, I was like, okay. And I trusted him, and I just gave up football. Freshman year, it always sucked because you're supposed to be up there on top of that hill, like looking over the track. But I was always on the bottom of the hill, looking up at the track. I mean, looking at the football field. So it was tough my freshman year. But as we went on and went on and went on, it got way better.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see you out there. There's no question, and I think you just broke his record. I know you're familiar with the name Ronaldo Nehemiah,
Yeah.
who didn't even play college football either, but then worked out for some teams and ended up getting 3 or 4 years in the NFL. I know you're concentrating on track right now, the Olympics and everything, but does that ever cross your mind down the road?
Yeah, all the time. It's weird. It'll be weird to do it, but I know I can. I know if anything, I know I can run in a straight line. So if I gotta go run a go route, I can make that happen. But then at the same time, I know I gotta. If I'm be able to go across that middle and go see, you think of some of the best corners and safeties in the league. And, you're gonna have to put some weight on. You're gonna have to be nimble on those feet. But I always think about it. But like I said, I think that right now, like in this time, we're all thinking about the Olympics. If you're not thinking about the Olympics, I think that's one of the things where are you really a true fan? And then you go back and reevaluate everything, and you know what's going to happen.
At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. We're speaking with track star Grant Holloway here on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. Before we talk about the Olympics a little bit, let's go back to your Gator career. Tracks, I don't want to say it's a weird sport, but it's an individual sport, but it's also part of a team. So kind of talk to us a little bit about that. Like, as a team, Grant, you do your job in the hurdles, but then the other guys, I don't want to say they fall apart or they have a bad exchange in a relay, get a bad start out of the block, and you don't win that track meet. How is it as being part of a team, but it's also being an individual sport?
Yeah, it's a weird, like you said, it's weird. But I was always told by my dad at the end of the day, make sure you get yours. And so, I mean, if the team wins, yes, I'm happy. But at the end of the day, you got to have 4, 5, 6 great individual efforts to make a team effort. So my dad always told me, especially when I got here to college, make sure you get yours, make sure you do what you got to do, make sure you execute at a very high level. Because, if you do what you got to do in the future, it'll become easy. So I really just took the time and really did everything for me. And then if I was able to hold up a trophy in the infield with my team, which I was able to do, both SEC and national, I mean, it's one of the best feelings ever. But, just to stand on that podium to say, okay, I did this for myself is always a better feeling.
Grant, we got a text here on the Titan Tomorrow text line. It comes from Tom. Tom wants to know, what was it like and what does Mouse Holloway mean to you?
My 3 years here at the University of Florida was priceless. If I was able to go back and do it all over again, Mr. Tom, I definitely think I would. To me, Coach Holloway is not just a coach. He's not just a coach for University of Florida, but he's a life mentor for so many other people. I think even for me, I think it's one of the things where he takes the time to really, make sure you're good as a person before an athlete. And I think that's huge because most coaches are here and they just put you through like it's like a business. All right, you're going to run for 4 years. You're going to make sure you score this amount of points at this meet and this amount of points at that meet. And afterwards, you'll be able just to be done. But really, I think for me, if I have life problems, I'm able to reach out to Coach Holloway. If I have, problems of just becoming a better man, being a better, boyfriend to my girlfriend or being a better husband to my wife soon, I think I can go to him for advice. I think that's the biggest thing. He really takes time to make sure you mature as a person. It doesn't matter how old you are. He always has some type of good advice for you. And I think that's the biggest thing that helps out so many people.
Dan says on Facebook Live here, brought to you by Mellon Law, we need to see a lot of Gator chomps in Tokyo. Don't forget to chomp. So I want to ask you this. How much different is it for you running indoors compared to outdoors?
In a sense, it's rather easier. Nothing changed in my training. When I train for basically 10 hurdles. I train for the real deal. Indoors, it's just half of the race. So it's 60 meters and it's only 5 hurdles. So for a sense, it's kind of easy, but at the same time, we have bigger fish to fry.
We got a text here on the Titan Tomorrow text line. and it comes from Wayne. Wayne wants to know, do track athletes talk smack at events?
I know I'm only 23 years old, so this is gonna sound crazy, but I know back in the day, you got Allen, you got Louis Jane, you got David Payne, you got some of those other great hurdlers. They talked a lot. I know they did, but me, I'm a man of action. I mean, even when I lead, I lead by example. If you get me going, I think that's the worst idea because I like I said, I used to play football, so I know all the words. I know how to get under your skin. I know what to say. But for the most part, I stay quiet. I just observe a lot of things, and then when it's time to show up on the track, I use my legs. I let my legs do all the talking. I don't start nothing. I just finish it.
So in your races, what's the most important thing for you? Is it the start?
For me, if you ask somebody else, I think their race plan would be a little bit different. But for me, it will be my start, and then basically the rule is run for 6, relax for 4. Because my speed is just so high, I get too close to the hurdles. So like sometimes if you watch some of the past films, it looks like I'm slowing down at the end. I'm really not. I'm just getting too close to the hurdle, which is causing me to put the brake on just a little bit. So I think for me, if I have a strong start and a strong finish, I think the world record will be gone tomorrow. But it's up to me to be mature in my event, to execute really at a high level and know everything that I do in practice. I got to be able to do it in the meet.
So I got to ask you this, and it probably hadn't happened in a long time, but it had to happen at one time. Did Grant Holloway ever get caught up and get tripped trying to go over a hurdle?
Absolutely. You're not. The rule is, Mr. Shane, you're not a real hurdler until you fall flat on your face. So I fell many times as a kid. I fell a couple times in high school. I hit a couple and lost my balance in college, and then I hit a couple even on my professional career. So the main thing is just staying smooth as butter. It happens to everybody.
So give us a brief synopsis of your training schedule. As a former football player, we had a lot of football players that ran track when I was in school. And, I look over at the track and you guys are just running all day, every day. At least at football practice, you may hate going to practice, but at least you're throwing some balls and having some fun stuff. It just seems like running all day long.
Yeah.
Just ain't a whole lot of fun. But just talk a little bit about your training schedule.
Yeah. So it like you said, Mr. Shane, it is a lot of running. I have to agree with that. Even when you're warming up, you're running. But the biggest thing is for like once you get past fall training, that's like it's like summer camp and reference to football. Once you get past summer camp, that's when everything fun starts to happen. You start going over a lot more hurdles. You start doing the fun workouts. For example, like on my Monday yesterday, I was able to go over 10 hurdles. Basically like it was like the real deal. And then on Tuesdays we have like a little sprint day where you're just working on block starts, working on that reaction time. Wednesday is kind of like an off day. You just go to the track, talk, stretch, relax, and then Thursday is usually like a big workout. Whether that's replicating what you're going to do in the race, replicating what you're going to do in the game, and then Friday is kind of like a mileage day. We just like you said, we're running. We're doing 300s, 400s. For all those people who don't know, that's like kind of like half, well, 3/4 of the track, and then we'll take a quick little break and then we'll do it all again.
Sounds terrible. Hey, we just got another text on the Titan Mark text line. It comes from Susie. She wants to know how long it takes you to run a mile. You probably never run a mile though, do you?
No, I probably never ran a mile. If it makes anybody feel better, I can hurdle really fast. I don't know. I never ran a mile, Miss Susie, so I don't want to put no lies out there.
So just so people know, usually when you're sprinters, you don't want to, with your fast twitch muscles and all that, you don't want to do long distance, correct?
Correct. And it's not vice versa, but it's kind of the same. Like you don't really see a distance runner running next to Usain Bolt. So it's kind of like everybody knows where they belong. A prime example, you don't see a lineman trying to return punts, or you don't see a lineman trying to run routes. So that's the good comparison.
That's a good point. Okay, so once you graduated, because I want to be educated in this too, and I know a lot of our listeners and viewers aren't familiar with professional track athletes. You know, they're familiar with the NBA guys, the NFL players, they get drafted. So when you decide to go pro, do you sign a contract with Puma, Nike, or somebody like that? And then when you go overseas in the world championships, do you get paid by how you finish, kind of how like the PGA Tour does in golf?
Exactly. So when I first came out, it's kind of like a bidding process for all the major shoe brands. So like the major shoe brands, you have Adidas, Nike, Puma, ASIC, Under Armour, and I'm missing one. All right, it doesn't matter. But basically, it's like a bidding system for them. So let's say Mr. Shane comes out, he runs 13.3, 13.2 in the hurdles, and then you got someone named Grant Holloway who came out and he runs 12.98. You know, so they're gonna be like, okay, we can give Mr. Shane X, Y, and Z, and then we can give Grant X, Y, and Z in the third. So it's all a bidding system, and then like afterwards, it is just like the PGA Tour. If you're able to win it, the World Athletics is it's kind of like the NFL or the NBA for track and field. It's called World Athletics. It used to be called the IAAF, but that went away and they just went to World Athletics. They'll pay basically for whatever you place, and then Olympics is kind of different because Olympics, if you're able to win Olympics or place in the top three, you get like it's called a rollover bonus to your contract. So basically, every shoe company has it. So if you win or place top three, instead of paying you straight cash, we'll add it to your next contract. So basically, every athlete gets paid about every 6 months. So usually October and April is when those and those big payments come in, and that's what every athlete wants. So say you win and you're making $100. Say you win the Olympics and the rollover bonus is $150, and you're on contract for $100. Now you're making, whatever, 150, 250. No, yeah, 250. Did I do it right? Yeah, I did it right. No, yeah, I did. 250. Sorry, look, I'm still trying to get my degree. So like now you get 250. So you just try to figure out. That's the main thing that everybody wants. They want people to get rollover.
I assume you signed with Adidas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if you notice when I put the order, I said Adidas, then Nike.
Yeah, well, you got the shirt. You got the shirt on too, so that's a good thing. All right, so tell us when the Olympic trials are and what your process is leading up to that.
Yeah, so Olympic trials will be June 25th and 26th for the 110 hurdles. Right now, this week is meet week for me, so I'm actually taking it easy. Usually on Wednesdays I go out, just try to feel good, just get some mileage under my belt, feel good. Just sweat out any toxins or anything that I have. But really it's meet week, so I'm taking it easy. So I'll run 2 meets. I'll run this week and the next week here in Gainesville at Tom Jones. If anybody wants to come out and support, please do. And then afterwards, Adidas will basically send me like a schedule where they want to see me at. I'll go to those meets, I'll bust some heads open, and then I'll come back here, do a little training, and then get ready for the trials.
And the trials are what, in Oregon?
Yeah, the new stadium, Haywood Field in Oregon.
Is there a favorite place, favorite event or arena that you've run in overseas so far?
Yeah, absolutely. The one that I hate the most is Drake Stadium in Iowa. I have never competed well there, like never. And whenever we have to go there, I kind of cringe just because you always have that bad memory. You don't want the negative thoughts to take over you, but you always think about it. It's probably like when you play football, you always probably hated going to like a certain stadium, like, dang, I can never hear, or I can never do this, I can never do that. But for the main thing is I love Budapest. That was where my first professional track meet was. I think that the stands, the stadium, everything, the way they carry themselves is just amazing. And Budapest, Hungary. Here in the United States, I really don't have one. I'm kind of not that superstitious, but I don't like to run at Drake.
Gotcha. Well, Grant, we appreciate taking the time to join the program. We also know that if you want to see Grant Holloway, you can always check him out at Katie Seashore Presley Stadium, right?
That is absolutely positive. I'll be there walking around minding my business.
That's right. His girlfriend is Katie Chronister, the pitcher, the left-hander from Gainesville High. Hey, man, good luck in Tokyo. We'll be watching you, and make sure, like Dan said, we need a lot of Gator chomps, my man.
All the best to you. Thank you, Mr. Shane.
Yes, sir. That's Grant Holloway. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. We're going to take our final timeout of the program, come back, and wrap up this Wednesday edition.
Hey Gators, this is Coach Steve Spurrier. Pot Up with Matthews in the morning. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. G-Tech Sport, keep your athletes in the game with G-Tech Sport. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Darshakow Insurance. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. I want to thank JC for joining us, and obviously Grant Holloway taking time out of his schedule to join our program. Man, tremendous Gator athlete, does it the right way, and we wish him a lot of luck in the future, and especially at the Olympic trials and the Olympics. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. We got a tremendous show lined up tomorrow. We're going to have Brent Beard talking about college football, but we're going to have some guy named Charlie Ward, Heisman Trophy winner for the semis back in the day, coaching a little high school basketball up in Tallahassee right now. Make sure you follow us and like us on Facebook and YouTube. You can listen to us on 30 digital platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many, many more. Don't forget, too, on firstand10florida.com, they have a special going on right now, 2 for 2 right now. Get you 2 months for just $2. Firstand10florida.com, your premier Florida Gators recruiting news source. Get your golf picks in. Can't wait. It all starts tomorrow with the Masters. And hopefully we got some golf fans out there. I know we talk a lot of golf on this show, but if you really watch this tournament, you'll fall in love with golf. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Be safe out there, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.